Hey everyone, Tim Furlong coming back at you from My Quarter Turns. So recently I was with a global executive team that hadn't had the opportunity to get together in, well, over 2 years, right? And for some of them, it's the first time they've actually met each other. And one of the things that everybody seemed to take away was the value of everybody being in the same room together at the same time. And, obviously it's something in our global businesses that it's just not always possible. But I've always said when I do those executive alignment sessions that there's value in everybody getting together and being in the same room, even if they just sit there and stare at each other for a couple of hours. Right? Now, obviously, that's not all we do in these sessions, but what happens when you're in the same room together and you're talking about the same problems that the businesses face, it's people start to realize that you have a lot of passionate, smart, enthusiastic people in the room. And what always happens when you have people that are passionate about what they do is they're not always going to agree on how they do things. That's where conflict happens. That's where friction happens in any business. And the mistake is thinking that conflict is a bad thing, when reality of it is if you don't have conflict in a business, then you have people that really don't care about it. The hard part about doing all this work on video chat and email is that resolving conflict is much more challenging. Those subtle nuances that you go through when you're dealing with conflict and kind of working things through and coming to a consensus, it's much harder when you're not in the same room together. So the one thing that we've learned, in order to build a high performing team, if you really want to do that, there's really one requirement. That's time. Time together. You've got to be able to spend that time together. It may not be every quarter, but hopefully it's once or twice a year where you can at least get in the same room, talk about what's happening, and then work through some of these challenges, right? Without time, it's hard to build trust. Without trust, look, I don't care who you are, it's going to be very difficult to become a high-performing team, right? So here's to you and building that time together with your team, one quarter turn at a time.